Hello everybody, my name is Brookring, and today I'm gonna be real quick. I just wanted to get this out of my head, and excuse me for the noise in the background. Construction workers have no manners. Just kidding, just kidding. It's my fault for starting up right now. Well, anyways, I had this duel recently. I think it was 2 days ago. Yeah, this one. I couldn't get this out of my head because, well, as usually I post a, replay of the duel, I thought, okay, I need to talk about this. I cannot just post it. I need to talk about it. And so I'm gonna go over it live, by the way. So there'll be no cuts, there'll be no editing. Not that I do any editing, but anyways. I just really want to talk about it because I just could not get it out of my head. Right, so I'm playing with the with my Kaiju / Unchained deck that I made recently. I think last stream I played with it a little bit. As you can see, I don't put up no Unchained, which is pretty terrible, and I'm going first, which is also pretty terrible. So I just pass. Yeah, should I have set this? Obviously, but in my head I was so just, dude, I don't want to go first, just go. When I clicked end, I was like, I should have set Kaiju Capture Mission, but it's okay because the opponent is not playing a combo deck. Luckily, they just use Pot of Extravagance. I don't care. They set 1 and pass, or set 2, 1 monster and one trap, or magic, as you see later. Just 1 monster? Okay. So yeah, I'm hoping for a Kaiju here. Any Kaiju is fine, and I don't get it. It's fine. I just use Prosperity, get ashed as usual. I don't really care if I get ashed on the Prosperity. And this time... Okay, go faster. And this time, I do set my Kaiju Capture Mission and pass. Now, since I have Kaiju Capture Mission, I can place my Radiant on the next turn. So as you can see, he also passed. He's doing some kind of gimmick that if you can see the thumbnail, you'll already know what it is. So I use Waterfront to get my, not stacks, counters going. And I just Kaiju them, so I get 1 counter here. And pass, because I don't have any more Kaijus. So at this point, I'm just hoping for 1 Kaiju. I also cannot let him use the Radiant skill, which uses 2 counters. I make 2 counters right now, so I'm thinking, okay, I need something to get rid of this Radiant right now. Sets 1, pass, there's nothing. And I'm thinking, what kind of deck is that, right? So I get my Gameciel and face, because I can, if he flips up, he does this thing. Now I have 2 counters, because this is going to the graveyard. He doesn't flip up, which is weird, but okay. So at this moment, I'm thinking, okay, I have 2 counters. If I get any of my cards in the grave, I can have 3 counters and search for a Kaiju, any Kaiju I like. What do they have in the grave? They have an Ash. Ash can negate this search, so what do? I go ahead and just call by the grave the Ash. Completely, no chain, no nothing, just banish it from the grave. So I get my 3rd counter, and with my 3rd counter, I can search. No Ash can be activated because of called, and then I can go into my plays. So this is pretty normal. When I saw the first Necroface, I thought, wait, is this a FTK thing that they banish my entire deck? Apparently not, because they didn't banish their stuff. I get another counter here, it's fine. I attack over, get another counter here, it's great. So what I'm thinking right now is I want to get 5 of my Kaijus in my graveyard, so I can use the Pot of Evers. They just pass again. I luckily draw into this, so I can search for anything I like. I search for Radiant because I want to go into extra deck play soon. I just Kaiju my own Kaiju because it's face down. Another one to the grave. Place it face down again. And this is dangerous. I have 3 counters here, right? I destroy my thing, get another counter, and one thing I could have done right here is Called by the Grave anything on the other side, then use my Damasio to negate my own Called by the Grave, so I can have less than 3 counters here, because the maximum is 3, and I cannot place any Kaiju in defense position if I have 3 counters. This is coming into play later, you'll see. Luckily, he uses Happy's Feather Duster, so I can just remove 1 counter to negate that. And I'm happy. Now he's gonna reveal his deck, which is Hypo Carnival OTK. Again, I negate it because I want as little counters here as possible, and I also don't want to see a lot of tokens going to extra deck plays if possible. Then he uses Mallet, I don't care. At this point I'm just scared if they have Exodia or something, so I was expecting for an Exodia here, it doesn't happen, I'm fine, okay, I'm fine. So, I have 2 counters here, this was almost a mistake. I do have 2 negates with this extra counter, but you see real soon why this was possibly a mistake. So I search for my Thundering Kaiju just in case I need to use 2 of them. And you see here why this was a mistake. They freaking summoned their own Kaiju to their own side of the field, because if you don't know, Kaijus cannot Kaiju Kaijus because you can only control 1 Kaiju. Was that confusing? Great. So they summoned their Jizukiru, what a name, and attack over my Gameciel, but I say nope, now I have 3 counters here. And this is problematic. If I don't activate anything, I cannot flip anything face down. And you see here why this is a big problem. Because I want to go into this Radiant right now to make extra deck plays and all that stuff. And as you see, I'll Thunder King Kaiju his own Kaiju, so I can beat over it with my Gameciel by flipping this face down. But I cannot flip this face down because it has 3 counters, so what do? I searched for a Kaiju. I searched for the wrong Kaiju, by the way. This turn was a complete misplay fast, you see. I searched for Radiant. I should have searched for Gameciel, you see in a moment. Then I normal summon my Maxi. Yes, you normal summon your Maxi. Your opponent's not special summoning anyway, so why would you care for Maxi? And then you link up. Up to here, it was just fine. But you see I summoned Nightmare Servers. I was thinking, I want to go into some extra deck play so I can go into my Radiant, make some tokens, go into my Unchained Abomination I have here. Because yes, or even this thing, I'm not sure why I have this thing, but I had to. Or I could go into Apollosa. No, Apollosa can't use tokens, so never mind. And I want to do all that, but I go into servers and I commit the mistake of using its effect to get rid of this Kaiju, so I cannot special summon my own Kaiju anymore because they don't have anything on their field. I use Pot of Everest in hopes I'd get an Unchained monster that I can do anything with. As you see, I don't get any Unchained monster, I get a trap that's useless. And another Waterfront, as you see, set before battle phase, of course, because Duel Links do not set before battle phase, please. So I get Kaiju here, so I'm like, oh, sure, okay, I have a big Kaiju now, that I don't have this Kaiju in my deck because it has a quick effect, remove 3 counters, negate an effect that targets and all this stuff. So I don't want to give this to my opponent, and I don't want to keep this either because I like Gameciel more. So what does he do? He goes for Hippo Carnival. I cannot negate this because this only negates if anything targets anything. So nothing's being targeted. If you haven't seen this OTK before, basically they give you a light attribute Kaiju. This is very important. A light attribute Kaiju. Summon as many tokens as they can, and then leeching the light. Select one face-up light monster your opponent controls. All face-up attack monsters you control gain the attack of that current monster. That means 3300 attack. That's way over 12,000 life, which I have 4,000 less than. However, their mistake was using Jizuriku instead of Thunder King, for example, because Jizuriku was targeted, and thus I can remove 3 of my counters to negate the activation and destroy a card on the field on top of that. How many negates do I have? Well, this uses 3 counters, so I have 1, 2, 5 counters. Right now I can only negate once more, negated, and I destroy a hippo, plus again 1 counter here because I destroyed the hippo, which was great. Now I can negate 2. They used another one, didn't learn their lesson because this is not once per turn. I negated once again, destroy one of the tokens, so even if they activate one more, and for some unforeseen reason I don't negate because I can't negate it, mayhaps I want the counters. Tokens do not count for the counter increase because they don't go to the grave. The dude goes searches for another one. By the way, this one gained another counter because Leeching the Light went to the graveyard. The dude searches for another Leeching the Light, doesn't found it, and scoops. Yeah. So what a disaster of a duel was that? If they used the Lightning Strike Kaiju instead, I would have been dead. So first thing I change here. As you saw at that stage, I should have searched for Gameciel when I searched for Radiant instead. I should not have destroyed their Lightning Strike Kaiju, so I could go into my extra deck plays and still have a Gameciel on the field. I messed up massively there, but somehow, because he used Jizuriku instead of, or whatever its name is, instead of Lightning Strike Kaiju, I won. And I want to talk about a little bit, and just a little bit about this deck. It's slightly different. I added one more, Sarama is her name, I'm not sure, and removed the Solemn Judgment I had here, because this deck, it thrives when your opponent does stuff, right? And Solemn Judgment is only useful if you go first and you want to negate what the opponent's trying to do. You do not want to negate what the opponent's trying to do. You want your opponent to do their play so he can kaiju their stuff. So if you want to build this deck, it's a pretty inexpensive deck. It's very, very cheap. You can remove this, you can remove this. It's not really useful. You can remove this. It's pretty good, but you don't really need it. The extra deck, the only card in the extra deck that's ultra rare and completely needed, I'd say, is the Unchained Abomination that you pretty much always will want to go for. I was trying to, but I failed miserably. Now, the Goddess here is a pretty good form of removal. It's kind of like Kaiju's. She uses one of the opponent's stuff, and there goes the Construction Workers. She uses one monster of the opponent to make herself, which is pretty cool, but they first have to be effect monsters, where Unchained Abomination doesn't, so you can use the Radiant tokens to make Unchained Abomination. And why not Access Code Talker? Well, first because I don't have it. I could put Access Code Talker here, but also because all the Unchained Twins, they lock your special summoning for Fiend monsters until the rest of the turn. This is Fiend, this is Fiend, this is Fiend. This, I'd get rid of this to put anything here, really. So this is what I say would be the optimal extra deck, but of course you want to use Garnets in your extra deck so you can Prosperity. Pot of Avarice is great because this deck is great at stalling out the opponent. And what do you want to do with your Kaiju as well? To your side of the field, you want to summon Radiant and Gameciel pretty much every time. Those are the Kaijus you really want to use. Sometimes you might want to use Dogoran to destroy your opponent's entire field. Sometimes you will want to use Thunder King to beat over all their monsters because he can attack 3 monsters. But most of the time you want these 2 to go to the opponents, and never let your opponent start their turn with those cards in their possession, because they will get rid of your Kaiju counters from whatever you're using, and you really need those Kaiju counters. Now, Dogoran. Dogoran is the ultra rare Kaiju, which is a shame we need it, because the Kaijus we need have less defense than Gameciel, so you can place them in defense position so the Mesio can attack over them. You see Radiant has higher defense, Jizuriku has higher defense, and his effect is quick, so we never want to give him to the opponent. Gadarla has less defense, but its quick effect is to remove 3 counters, which is way more than you want your opponent to use, and then they will have everything on the field. You can negate it with Gamesio, but that's 5 of your counters gone. That's horrible. There's more Kaijus. Where's the other Kaijus? Okay. This is not usable at all. Or is it? You can discard this card, banish 1 Kaiju that is owned by your opponent. So, what does owned mean? Owned doesn't mean it's in the opponent's field. It means it came from their deck. As you can see, when you special summon a Kaiju to their side of the field and you destroy it, it goes to your graveyard. It means it's owned by you. Since all your Kaijus will be owned by you most of the time, this is straight up not useful. This is also not useful because you special summon when your opponent has a Kaiju. This is horrible, actually. And your main playmakers of this deck are Radiant and the 3 twins, white twins. I mean, they can be triplets, whatever. They destroy the stuff so we can get more counters with Kyoto Waterfront, which needs counters, need cards on the field to leave the field and go to the graveyard, not banished like Gamesio banishes them. And as I was saying before I completely lost my track of, stuff. Dogoran, I'd use 3. I don't have that many. I only have 2 because their stats is really good for a monster that has no quick effect to give to your opponent, that is. And then if you really want to make this deck as cheap as possible, you don't really need those 2 cards. If you're going for Dogoran, you will be pulling on their pack, which is the Monsters pack. This pack is not so bad because it has Danger. Danger is an engine that a lot of people like to use. A lot of people like the Danger thing a lot. I don't like it, but there's that. You could use Danger stuff. This is in the pack as well. What you really want though is Gamesio, Thunder King, Radiant, and your Unchained stuff, so you can destroy them and special summon from the deck to go to your extra deck plays with Fiend monsters. All the Nightmares, use all of them. They're all Fiend, so they work. Is it a good deck? No, by any means. It steals a lot of wins, but it's not a meta deck or a good deck at all. It's a fun deck to use, not good. But it is pretty cheap. Now, I just logged up, by the way. No, do not save that. I just logged up and realized, I just saw here in notifications, there's a festival coming up. And an R Rarity Festival. So, is this deck good for this? Okay. Is this deck good for this tournament? Well, probably. Because we don't use that many super rare cards. This deck is pretty inexpensive, as I said. We have a lot of normal and rare cards, not so many super rare cards. So as I said, you don't need Maxi, you don't need Lava Golem, although it's pretty good. Your main boss monster, which is Gamesio, is not gonna be usable because it's super rare, but it's fine. Dogoran, you cannot use it. Not this, not this, not this, not this, and this. But all the rest, very much usable. What would I do instead? Well, let's see. Kaiju. Let's get rid of all high rarity stuff and see what we can do with this, including the extra deck. Get out of here, you too. Oh, almost forgot those 5. Yeah, so what is good with this deck? Let's see. Jizuriku, of course. Like, this is a monster you want to keep to yourself because, as I said, target can be negated and you can destroy on top of that. Destroying gains you counters. The counter Ugh. The counter card will be increased. This, maybe you want to play one or two of those to keep to yourself. You will not have negates, but it's still an option. Gadarlo, you could use 2 of them because you can reduce the opponent's attack and stuff. You could add more of these unchained cards. Let's see. I don't have them, but you can correct them. It's normal, unchained. Let's go. You could put 2 of those. It's a search. You could put 2 of those. It's fine. And then 1 more of those, because why not? And then you put anything you want in the extra deck that is at least Fiend. So let's see what you can do with the extra deck. Now, would I recommend going to the extra deck with this deck? No, not really. So you're gonna go... yeah. Let's see what's Fiend and on the extra deck. Not much. Only those 2, apparently. Yeah, so there's not much, you know, extra deck plays to go into this deck for this festival. It's not really good either. Let's have a look at what's Link and whoa, and not rare at all. Keep in mind, you have few monsters on the field, so you wanna use low Link stuff. Cyberse is not happening. Oh, Cyberse, right. What would I recommend for this upcoming festival? Cyberse, for sure. Like, they have some pretty good low rarity stuff. Backup Secretary is fantastic. Link Devotee and the other one, which points down. This one points up. They're really, really good. 2 effect monsters, this could happen, maybe, perhaps. You can use some tokens. If you know of any Link monster that can use any tokens to do their plays, Radiant can help with that. So if you have Link Spider, for example. Where's Link Spider anyway? It's a rank 1, right? Am I crazy? Link Spider? Oh, I guess it's high rarity then. Okay. And yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. It's kind of weird doing this, to be completely honest. I'm not sure if I'm going to do commentated replays again. This was an exception, to be completely honest, but I kind of have fun with it because really, I had this stuck in my head for so long. Those 2 last days were a pain to go through with that going over in my head. Why do I have Topologic Bomba Dragon here? Because I have nothing better, basically. This is more Prosperity Fodder, basically. But yeah, it's a pretty cheap deck. Steal some wins. Not good at all. But if you want to use it, I do assure it's fun. That much I can say. It is a fun deck. I'm gonna be streaming it, climbing ranks with this deck pretty soon. Probably this Friday. Which day is today? 14th. It's March 14th. Okay. So it's today is Monday, so 13, 14, 15, 16, 16th, March 16th or 17th, one of the 2. I'm gonna be climbing up rank. I'm not going into Platinum though, because I realized something recently. If I climb to Platinum, I'll be kicked back to Gold next season. And that's not really happy times, because I want the Silver rewards. You know? I want to be kicked back to Silver so I can climb all the way up to Gold again and then be kicked back. Kind of cheesy. In case you don't know, you cannot derank from Gold 5. They announced you wouldn't be able to derank from Plat 5. And I tried to derank from Gold 5, but I couldn't. You can see my match history here. No, never mind. You cannot see my match history. Yeah. I just want to go to Gold 1, get the gem rewards, not play ranked anymore, go back to Silver 5, rank all the way up, stop at Gold 1, and go back. Why? Because Platinums are fun. Platinum is just unfun. Pretty goofy stuff happens at Gold, as you could see the replay I just showed you. Even though Silver is not really fun, you can climb Silver pretty quick. And on Gold, you get the most goofy and funny duels ever, which is great for content creation. I'm not gonna go serious anyway, so Gold is my jam, you know? As much as I could go to Platinum, I was Platinum last season, it's just not fun. I tried to make a meta deck, but it's one, expensive, and two, unfun. I like to play fun decks. You could say, oh, twins are kind of meta because they win a lot. No, they don't, really. I don't even know what this deck I'm kind of building does, but it's unfun. I've seen it in action, it's not really good. Ritual Beasts have potential to be really good, but I'm not playing Ritual Beasts anymore. And this is the reason why I don't want to get to Platinum. Because I want to de-rank back to Silver and get my rewards. Because I'm poor, I'm a free-to-player, I need to survive. But anyways, that's what I wanted to show today. I hope you enjoyed. Somehow, with all this background noise. And I'll see you in the next time. Bye bye.